We have liftoff. Hello, and welcome back to the Alexandria Society podcast. I'm your host, Tim, who wants to abandon society and move off to the woods like a recluse, but not in a terrorist way. And with me is my best friend and co-host, Derek, who is going to be judging incel behavior today. How are you doing, Derek?
Yes, I'm going to be moving out into the wilderness to escape modern society, but in a terrorist way.
Okay.
That's where I'm at emotionally.
I mean, with our current administration, I'm kind of also there too, not gonna lie.
One man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. Not Ted Kaczynski, but somebody.
No. Honestly, I just don't have the mental effort to plan any of that shit.
Man, I could barely keep my own fucking apartment clean. How am I supposed to play a fucking terrorist?
To commit coordinated domestic terrorism, yeah. So, Derek, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I had a fucking crazy busy Thanksgiving break. It was fun. It was nice. I enjoyed traveling. I enjoyed going and seeing family. But oh my god, I am so sick of driving. I'm so sick of being in that car.
I should have thought of that before I told you to come to a comedy show last night, but fuck it, you came.
See, here's the thing. After driving all the way from Oklahoma City to San Antonio through holiday traffic, the 1.5 hour drive up to Tulsa was nothing. It was fine. It was barely even a blip on my radar. Like, that trip, even there and back in the same night, like, that was, the round trip was still less than one leg of the journey for that drive. Coming back the day before Thanksgiving, we hit fucking highways turned into parking lots every time we hit any town of any size, basically until we hit the Red River.
That sounds like Texas.
Yeah, Texas highways fucking blow, dude. Texas highways suck.
And not in the fun way.
No, not in the highway.
Not like Roadhead. So I just got off work not too long ago, had to get some dinner in me. I had to remember last second to grab alcohol, so I went and grabbed this from a liquor store I've only been to a couple times. I think I've been twice before, so this is maybe the third time. And not bad. Not looking forward to tomorrow because it's food stamps day, but we'll get to that tomorrow. That's tomorrow Tim's problem. So tonight I'm drinking from Bricktown Brewery Blues Berry Ale. It is 4.7%, and it's an ale with a little tint of blueberry taste. Pretty good.
Oh boy, I love my little. Bricktown Brewery's blueberry is their blueberry beer is fucking phenomenal. Every time we'll go and actually sit down at the Bricktown Brewery restaurant because there's one on the south side, and every time I go, I get the blueberry ale on tap because they put little blueberries on it in the drink.
I feel like that would make this taste so much better if I would get like fresh from the tap and with the blueberries. I bet that would elevate it.
Oh yeah, Bricktown Brewery on tap is fantastic. It is very good. I highly recommend it sometime. And the food is fine.
It's like you're there for the beer. You're not there for the food. Is the kind of thing I got.
Yeah, no, the food pairs well with the beer. But if it weren't for the beer, I probably wouldn't go. But
yeah. So for my shots, I've got Effen. I think it's how it's pronounced. It's EFFEN. Effen. Black cherry. It's also pretty like simple but gorgeous bottle. It's got like I don't know if it's a synthetic leather. Wow, I could not say that word or something around the part of the bottle, and it's Effen Black cherry. 37.5%, and it's from Holland.
From the Dutch, swamp liquor,
Anyone can make decent vodka these days.
I was about to say something very mean about Slavic people, and I don't think they deserve that, so I'm just going to move on.
So what are you drinking, Derek?
Oh, what am I drinking? I went to George's, the best liquor store in Oklahoma City. I grabbed myself some Einger, which is a Dunkel beer from Bavaria. Let me see if this is actually an import. This is it's called Einger because it's actually from Eying, Germany.
Damn.
So yeah, this is a German import. Old-fashioned, monastery-style dark beer. And it is... Where is the fucking percentage on this shit? I should have looked at this. It's a 5%.
Nice.
It's very good. Classic German beer. I say that a million times. I just fucking love German beers.
You go to those pretty frequently. And then I'm going to run and grab my chaser real quick, but you were talking about your shots right before we started recording. You were so happy about it.
Yeah. So for my shots, I love Plantaray. Plantaray rum. They make some fantastic rum for pretty cheap. And this one is Plantaray Overproof Old-Fashioned Traditional Dark. This is... Anyways, what caught my eye about this rum is the giant 69 on it.
Nice.
Which means 69%.
Nice.
So I took a whiff of this. It's not a super strong alcohol. Like the spices and the alcohol, they're not super strong, like fumes wise, but I think that makes it a little scarier actually, because I don't know what to expect when I taste this. It could go down smooth as hell and just get me drunk without me even noticing, or it could be like
razor blades.
Like razor blades the minute it touches my tongue. I'm not sure what to expect. But, it's Plantaray. It's going to be good.
Yeah, we've had them a couple different times on the podcast. I think this is like our third or fourth different liquor from them.
Yeah, probably. I really like them. It was going to be that or bamboo.
Love me some bamboo. So we've only got one rule this week, is that anytime someone does something that makes Derek internally groan, he will assign a sip or a shot based on how bad it was.
What if it makes me audibly groan?
I assume that's automatic shot. You ready, sir? You ready for our shots? Cheers.
Prost.
So, are you ready to talk about a terrorist incel, sir?
Let's talk about the Industrial Revolution and its consequences.
More like just the consequences.
Yeah, I think one of the consequences which have been a disaster for the human race that were caused by the Industrial Revolution, I think Ted Kaczynski getting an education was one of the worst ones.
Oh, yeah. So, today we're talking about Theodore John Kaczynski, born May 22nd, 1942, in Chicago.
Chicago? I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I wasn't either. I didn't know he died 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, I knew that. It was all over Twitter. People were making lots of jokes.
I knew he was dead, but I didn't realize it was only 2 years ago, you know?
Yeah, people were making a lot of jokes about it on Twitter, twitter.com.
He deserved it.
Yeah.
So, he was born to his working-class parents, Wanda Theresa and Theodore Richard Kaczynski. So, he was a junior the same way Tom Wayne Gacy was.
Ew.
They just changed the middle name.
Gross.
That is gross. That is 1,000. Me and you will argue day in and day out what a junior is. That's still a junior. You can agree on that.
Yeah. I'd say you give your kid your first name, like you're setting him up for disaster.
One of the rules from Small Town Murder that I will, and Crime and Sports, that I will defend to this day: if you name your kid Junior, you or your kid have a huge percentage more chance to be involved in crime in some way. So, like I said, he was born in 94. I'm not 94, 42, sorry. My brain, wonky. His dad was a sausage maker, in fact.
A Polish sausage maker. Well.
Yep, both of his parents were Polish American.
When you think about it, his son was also kind of a sausage maker.
Fuck you, Derek. Take a sip. His parents were actually raised Roman Catholic, but later became atheists, which is kind of surprising for the time.
What would this be, like the 40s to 50s? Well, I imagine the 40s was a time when a lot of Poles were becoming atheists because you can't really believe in God after all that shit that happened.
His parents married in 39, April 11th, 1939. So I don't know when this part happened. This was mentioned in my book. I'm going to go ahead and reference this. I'm using the FBI website as well as I'm trying to get her name because I remember the title. I just don't remember the author's name. Okay, it's Hunting the Unabomber by Lisa Weil, I think. I don't remember the pronunciation. I apologize. And Lisa Pulitzer. And she narrated it herself. Lisa did. Liz, not Lisa, sorry. Those are my main sources this week. But it's mentioned offhandedly, and I can't remember at what age, that Ted got really sick when he was younger, and that supposedly altered him. My theory is Ted was probably either brain damaged from that sickness or on the spectrum as part of, like, not to excuse anything, because there's absolutely plenty of people on the spectrum, but like it just kind of, his patterns is the way he coped with a lot of stuff. It makes sense. He was either brain damaged or on the spectrum.
Yeah, he always kind of struck me as kind of neurodivergent. I mean, more neurodivergent than most mathematicians already are as a baseline.
No, I want to say this. I think it was one of those like fever things where like he had to be in the hospital for a long time without his parents, and that led it to some social issues even with his family too. But so he went to Sherman Elementary in Chicago from 6 to 9 years old, so first through fourth grade. Then, when his brother was 3 years old in 1952, they moved to Evergreen Park, Illinois, where he transferred schools to Evergreen Park Central Junior High. That's a mouthful. And he got his IQ tested. Do you know how high it was? This is like 5th or 6th grade.
I bet it was probably pretty high.
Take a shot in the dark number. It's high number.
I'm gonna say at that age, I'm gonna say 125.
Go up. 167.
140. Jesus Christ! Holy shit! And how old he was? Fifth grade.
This was around that time, yeah. Because after the way I've heard, it doesn't say this directly, but I think it's because of this. After the IQ test, he skips 6th grade, so he goes straight to 7th grade. And I think that does not help him. So we talked about the social issues after the sickness as a young child. Then he gets isolated from peers after being skipped a grade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now he's a younger kid in class. That's going to socially isolate him.
Yeah, if you were ever in school with somebody who skipped a grade, they never adjusted well.
I didn't see too many people.
There was one that sticks out in my mind. There was a kid when I was a freshman in high school who was like 2 years younger than us, and he was in my English class. And he was such a smug asshole. Like, I guess, technically, because he was...
Yeah, we didn't have any at my school, but, like, that's just the vibe I got from everyone who would skip a grade.
Yeah, because he was technically still middle school age, so I guess that makes sense that he was a smug asshole, because everybody was at that age, but...
He was a chuny. He had 8th grader syndrome.
Yeah.
So, that's what that's the Japanese word for, someone who like is kind of stuck in middle school. It's called 8th grader syndrome is like the direct translation from what I understand, but it's chuny or like there's a full, that's the shorthand of it, but like basically it just means like you're just caught up in like that kind of like middle school kind of mindset is the best way I can describe it. It's actually caught along here in America. We just use it's like a direct loan word, like chuny.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So he goes on at Evergreen Park to go to the community high school, and he was in the marching band playing trombone, was in the mathematics club, the biology club, choring club, German club.
Oh, he was he was a trombone player. That is, I am both. That is very. I'm sorry. That's very amusing. If you've ever like, if you remember, look back on trombone players when we were in band, it was just.
I've known a lot of trombone players, but I haven't like gotten to be like their friend to the point where like I can get the reference really, you know? Like
Yeah, they're the most awkward of the brass players.
that definitely makes sense. He was described as a walking brain. He didn't really have a personality, is what one of his classmates said. The same year he was arrested. That's it, during that. He was also known as a briefcase boy. It was a group of kids. It was a group of individuals in the high school that were like the nerds that were really interested in science and mathematics, and they carried around briefcases because nothing screams chuny like carrying around a briefcase.
Oh, we all had one of those kids at least. We all had one of them. We had a few at my school because they were all in youth and government. One of them works for the one of the briefcase kids. He grew out of briefcases after freshman year, but now he works for the Democratic Party.
Now he just has a case somewhere hidden in a file.
So no.
He was always academically ahead. He actually ended up skipping another grade in 11th grade because he just took a bunch of classes in summer school.
They're really setting this kid up for disaster. You know, maybe he wouldn't have.
What age do you think he graduates high school?
16. I'm guessing 16.
15.
15. That was going to be my second guess.
He's one of his 5 national merit finalists, and he was encouraged to apply to Harvard. Guess what happened?
Did he forget to apply?
No, he got in to Harvard at 15 years old.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was expecting.
One of the youngest to ever get into Harvard.
Yeah, that's about what I was expecting. Man, they're really setting this kid up for disaster. He didn't.
The social isolation of being a 15-year-old in college, Harvard of all places, that level of college, like that prestige of college.
Yeah, on top of the social isolation of being at Harvard on merit rather than on your parents donating a bunch of money.
Yeah, so he was living in like a really small place for like precarious incoming students, I guess, and then it was called 8 Prescott Street. Then his last 3 years he lived at Elliott House, which is apparently like a well-known area in Harvard. Fellow Harvard students described him as very intelligent but socially reserved, not recluse. He graduated in 1962 with a GPA of 3.12. Not as high as I expected with like how much his mathematics prowess was touted.
Yeah, but he was a STEM major and it's Harvard, so like that's like a 4.8 at a
fair.
That's like 4.8 at a normal university.
Fair. While he was at Harvard, he was psychologically tortured.
I've heard this story. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I know what's going next.
I'm not going to go deep into this, but there was a study done by Henry Murray where they were going into it. They were told they were going to be doing a study about debating personal philosophy and aspirations, and they were told to give like a deep essay on that, but they used that essay to basically verbally berate and psychologically torture these individuals, and like this is like fucking what the fuck kind of shit like that they did to them. Like they didn't do anything physically, but like it again, psychological torture. He spent 200 hours as a part of that study, and the reason why he refused to withdraw from the study is because he refused to let them break him, is the way he describes it, which is not a healthy mindset to be a part of a psychological torture study.
I don't know if they mentioned this, but that professor, the researcher that was leading that study, he had extensive ties to the MK Ultra program.
Does that surprise me in the least bit? Fuck no.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if that came up in your reading, but yeah, it's widely speculated that little research project was initiated at the behest of MK Ultra in order to study
Yeah, no, it sounds like 1,000% sounds like an MK Ultra study. Like I didn't connect the dots, but those dots immediately connected as soon as you said like, yep, nope, that's definitely Dead Ringer.
Yep, yeah, it tracks.
After his graduation from Harvard, he enrolled at the University of Michigan. He had applied to the University of California, Berkeley, and the University of Chicago. And the only reason he chose Michigan is because it's the only one that offered him a grant and a teaching post.
Okay, that that tracks. One of my best friends in high school did something similar, or it just reminds me of something. My I had one of my best friends in high school was accepted to Harvard and then a couple of other Ivy League schools, but he ended up going to OU instead because they offered him a full ride scholarship.
I mean, that's probably the way to do it. So during this time at University of Michigan, he earns both his master's and his doctor's in 1964 and 1967, respectively.
Real quick, can I just mention something real quick that I just thought of? So the two schools that he was considering going to were Berkeley and Chicago.
There was 3 other schools. So there was 4 total. It was University of Michigan, which is where he ended up, University of California, Berkeley, and the University of Chicago.
Okay. Well, Berkeley is University of California, Berkeley. That's one school. Unless there is a different... There's like...
Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. The way... Honestly, this is taking longer than I thought, so I thought this isn't the part that I had as much notes on. This is the part where I'm leaning a little bit more into the websites, but I misread that. There's a comma in a different way because they separated the other. The commas are bad uses on this article.
Yeah. UC Berkeley. But the reason I wanted to point that out is because if he had gone to either one of those, it would have ideologically drastically changed the direction of his life. Because in the 1960s, UC Berkeley, hotbed of left-wing student radicalism. University of Chicago, hotbed of like CIA-backed.
Are you saying as an undergrad or as a postgrad?
Either, just being on campus.
He was on campus. After he leaves Michigan, he goes to Berkeley.
Oh, he does go to Berkeley? I thought he went to Michigan.
So he leaves Berkeley in 1967 after he gets his doctorate, and he goes to Berkeley.
He leaves Michigan and goes to Berkeley.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. I think that's interesting because at that time, especially 1967, getting close to 1969, Berkeley was crazy with left wing student radicalism. Like you couldn't throw a rock on that campus during that time without hitting a communist. It's just wild to think about like how that might have influenced his politics.
It's really interesting. And so before he gets his doctorate, the year before, in fact, he has a little gender identity crisis.
Which way do you go? It's like the branching roads meme. Do you transition or do you become like a radical reclusive terrorist?
Essentially, yes. So it's described as a period of several weeks, but this can't just be a thought for out of nowhere for a couple weeks and you decide to go talk to your psychiatrist, but chicken out in the waiting room. So that's what he did. He chickened out on mentioning it and just said he just had a normal session about like anxiety or some shit with his psychiatrist at that point. But afterwards, he was just consumed with rage. Like the embarrassment of not being able to bring it up to psychiatrist, society, whatever. Like, so I think he was an egg that like spoiled before it cracked, before like they transitioned, because that's what you call someone who
Wow, that is an incredible way to put that. Did you come up with that, or is that like
the egg terminology is not new, but
Yeah, I know, I'm familiar with the egg terminology, but spoiling before it cracks is like an incredible way to put that.
No, that was tip of my tongue. That was just made up right then and there.
That was great. That was poetry. You did fantastic there.
I shall never live up to these achievements ever again. His 67 dissertation.
Hold on. Take a sip for that real quick. Just for that.
Kaczynski describes this. Sorry, I wanted to finish this up. He described that psychiatrist meeting as like a turning point. Like, after coming out of this with all that rage, he knew he could kill someone after that. Like, just because he was so mad at society.
Ugh. Yeah.
And this is why we shouldn't stigmatize transitions, because you get domestic terrorist incels.
Yeah, that's why social taboo. Here's my perspective on it. Social taboos are a technology. Social taboos are like a gun, right? Guns have their uses. They're not always good uses, but they have their uses. But you gotta be like, you gotta be discerning with how they're reused. If you just start going around making a bunch of random shit willy-nilly taboos, like, gender, like alternative gender expression, or transition, or like stuff like that, it's gonna have bad results.
Yeah. Trans rights are human rights. So he gives his dissertation in 67, and it's boundary functions. Like, he's a math fucking like nerd of like the nth degree, because that's what his science degree's in. He wins a prize for his dissertation. His doctoral advisor, so this is his doctoral dissertation, by the way, said it was the best one he had ever directed. Another person who was on the dissertation committee said, I would guess that maybe 10 or 12 men in the country understood or appreciated it. Like, it was that level, high level math, like, kind of shit.
Yeah, that's what I've heard about Kaczynski, is that if it weren't for, all the bombs, he would have been remembered, and he still would have been remembered in history as like one of the great mathematicians of the 20th century.
Oh yeah. Then he goes and joins UC Berkeley after he gives his after he gets his doctorate. At 25 years old, he becomes an assistant professor at UC Berkeley. He was the youngest professor in this history of the university.
God, this guy just, man, if
he wasn't such a fucking incel, he would have been like an amazing like nerd Giga Chad for nerds. Giga Chad for nerds. Like math nerds specifically.
No, that's the thing though, is that what I'm thinking is less just about him. Like obviously, like he had his personality flaws, being able to do the things that he did, but I can't help but think if we lived in a country, if he had come up in a country with a healthy culture and like a healthy social fabric, he could have been just a great man who expanded the borders of human knowledge. And instead he was raised in the United States, and it turned him into a fucking terrorist.
Yeah. It's frustrating, because like I can see where Kaczynski could have like just been like a normal professor, actually added to the scientific world, and just was like a blimp on the radar for like true crime things, like never did anything like this, like doesn't ever show up, but that we don't live in that timeline. So 1 year after joining UC Berkeley, he gets promoted to an assistant professor, and he was on track for tenureship. But then just 2 years into teaching at UC Berkeley, he resigns on June 30th, 69.
Summer of love.
So he moves back into his parents for 2 years, and then he goes to live in the woods after 2 years. This is where he built his primitive cabin, no running water, no electricity, in Lincoln, Montana.
Man, Montana. Man. Nobody who Let me clarify that. Very few people who go out to Montana to just build a cabin and live off the grid have like wholesome intentions.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of the idea of just getting off the grid, moving out, living by your own hand. I'm very attracted to that kind of thing. The people who actually are crazy enough to go out and do it and almost are never good people is the issue.
He's waving at you and you're... So, starting in 1975, he actually started committing arson and booby trapping areas around his cabin because he didn't want people developing the land around him.
Yeah.
He also started reading sociological philosophy and political philosophy, including the works of Jacques Ellul, I think is the last name.
It's French.
That's the best that's the best way I can pronounce it personally. I apologize if I'm wrong.
It's the French. If you offend them, it means you've won.
He was really stuck on Ellul's book, The Technological Society. Ted's brother said that it became Ted's Bible.
This is where we get into that primitivism shit. This is where we return to monkey.
And I actually think there are some points. It's just Kaczynski took them to way wrong conclusions and wrong ways to try and address them. So what Kaczynski was worried about with the way technology was advancing is that it was going to slowly lead to people isolating each other, and we see that with technology and social media. People are just slowly becoming more isolated. And that the governments will be a lot easier to manipulate people, which we are seeing now.
Yeah.
He was paranoid, and people were like, well, that's crazy. He just, like, he was paranoid about realistic things, but he took them to, like, a delusional 12 and decided the only solution is to bomb random shit instead of trying... none of his, like, bombings made any sense in reference to his, like, actual, like, trying to make any progress against technology in the way he wanted it to. Like, none of his bombings were gonna, like, actually further, like, his cause of, like, stopping the integration of technology, letting it isolate us, or make the government harder to, like, manipulate us and shit. Like,
yeah. See, this is something that I've thought of before, and I think this is where he, because his ideas did have some points. Is the issue is the problem is that I think his ego crept in. I think that's the issue. He wasn't concerned with actually pressing his, like, political or societal goals. At some level, he was more interested in just people putting eyes on his ideas. He wanted to be right rather than actually, like, accomplish anything.
At a certain point, it was ego for sure, because, like, towards the end, he does the same thing like serial killers do, and he starts taunting the law enforcement and getting a hold of them, and, like, has to, like, he starts, like, taunting shit, and it ends up biting him in the fucking ass. So, as you can tell, we're kind of getting into the bombings. So, the first bombing occurred in 1978. Basically, what happened is he leaves... what's the best way to summarize this? There was a package left beside the mail box / mail room, kind of. That's the best way I can describe it. That was marked return to sender. And what they discovered later is this was his first bomb, and it's because he messed up and he didn't make it big enough. Like, he made it too big to fit in the mail box, so he had to have it right there. It was discovered by a professor of materials engineering, sorry. Basically, they find a package kind of right next to, like, a mailbox, which is close to the mailroom. And they contact campus police. One of the campus police officers starts to open it. It explodes, but only causes minor injuries, right?
So, well, sorry, back up just a second. So, it was a suspicious enough package that they felt the need to call campus police. I'm assuming this is at a college or university campus?
It's at Northwestern University.
Okay. So it was suspicious enough that they felt...
You call law enforcement, but they don't get anyone who has any kind of, like, bomb training.
So were they suspicious that it was a bomb? Because if they were suspicious it was a bomb, why did the cop fucking open it?
It was suspicious because it was marked returned to sender, but it had not been mailed.
So, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it was... What else would it be? If they're suspicious of it, what else would it be?
I'm just guessing that, like, trope slash, like suspicious packaging shit wasn't, like, as well known back then is the only thing I can think of. That's the only thing I can, like, say, you know? Like, that's there's nothing really else I could, like... So he tries again a year later, and this one is shaped like a cigar box. And it's again at Northwestern University, and it was just left on a table there at Northwestern University, and it caused minor injuries to a graduate student named John Harris.
Okay.
It's during this time Kaczynski has one of his biggest incel moments ever.
I'm looking forward to this.
He returns to Chicago in May of 78, so right around the time the first bomb was found, and he was working for his father and with his father and brother at a foam rubber factory.
Okay.
And there was a female supervisor that he went on a couple of dates with, but it's not... Kaczynski was like so... The way these dates were described is after the first one, he literally wrote a limerick about how fucking lame the girl was, even though he went on multiple dates with her, supposedly. The girl denies there were any romantic intentions. He posted at work. He posted the limerick at work.
Okay, that's... Okay, you know, I was about to say that's bad enough for 3 steps. I don't know if it's quite a shot. Then you said he put it up and did at work. No, that's a shot. Yeah.
Cheers.
Frost.
His brother actually had to fire him over those limericks.
Oh, that's so bad. Oh, that's so... Is he fucking idiot?
Like I said, he's an incel. Like, this is the only known, like, semi-romantic relationship he ever gets into.
That is fucking crazy. I cannot believe he did that shit.
Ted Kaczynski, unless he became a prison bitch, died a virgin. Which he probably did, become a prison bitch.
So, I don't even know how to respond to that. That's just incredible. Can you imagine being his brother? Can you imagine being related to him and he pulls that shit? You have a doctorate. You're one of the most brilliant mathematical minds of the 20th century. What the fuck are you doing?
I would smack the fucking shit out of my brother.
You dumb motherfucker. I swear to God.
If my brother pulled this shit, holy fuck.
Now this is where I'm thinking, like, I'm circling back again to, like, this isn't just neurodivergence. This is actual, like, ego shit. Like, he thinks so fucking highly of himself.
He thinks he's so smart that he thinks he's, like, playing 4D chess, but he's just really an incel that's figuratively in his mother's basement, which is actually, I just left society to live in the woods.
See, yeah, today's incels are wasting away their lives in a basement when they could just be in the woods mailing bombs. Men used to build things, namely bombs, but...
That was another thing about his bombs, is they were so...
Oh, was he bad at making bombs?
Kinda, but also not. Like, he handmade each of these bombs with shit that was like he carved boxes. Like, he handmade this shit. Like, almost none of the stuff was off the shelf except for, like, the batteries to be the ignition or whatever. Like, very few things could be, like, tracked down. The batteries he used, he removed the outer plastic shell so you couldn't track down the facilities.
See, once again, that screams ego to me. Like, he's trying to prove he can. He's not doing that for convenience. He's doing that because he wants to prove he can.
Then,
See, I was sympathetic with this guy for a little bit. Now he's just pissing me off.
Then, the only thing they were able to track down was a piece of wire that he used to, like, carry the charge to create the spark or whatever. And the closest they could track it down was, hey, it was manufactured on this side of the Appalachian Mountains. That's it. Like everything else was sourced in such a way that like you couldn't like trace it.
Yes, this wire has a distinctly German phenotype rather than an Irish phenotype.
Well, it's a wire. You can't track it down that much.
I know, but I'm just thinking, just the fact that they were able to figure that out. I immediately thought like, well, then we can safely say that there's a good chance it was probably a German, because all the Irish stayed over on the East Coast.
Fuck you too, Derek. In 1979, he gets a bomb placed in the cargo hold of American Airlines flight 444, which was on a Boeing 727, which was going from Chicago to Washington, D.C.
Can you imagine if 9/11 was committed by a bunch of primitivists in Montana?
That had been so fucking more hilarious.
We might live in a better country now if that had happened, actually.
Possibly. The bomb went half off. It just started smoking, which led to an emergency landing. And apparently it had enough. It was big enough to blow up the plane.
Oh, shit.
The quote was obliterate the plane. Like this shit's Exodia.
That's fucking terrifying. Like it wouldn't have just been like blow a hole in the plane and cause it to crash. It would have been like the plane would cease to exist in midair.
Yeah.
I've got all 5 Exodia cards, and the rest of my deck is Pot of Greed, and for somehow it still didn't work.
Ted Kaczynski thought he was going to have someone summon Exodia on the plane and blow it up. Did not work. He actually also left false clues in his bombs. He put metal plates stamped with the initials FC in it.
Frank Charles. I always knew that son of a bitch was going to try something. I don't know who Frank Charles is.
One of the bombs that he had sent off that didn't detonate, he put a thing, "Woo, it works, I told you it would, RV," as a quote. He also sent a bomb embedded in a copy of Sloane Wilson's novel, The Ice Brothers.
Never heard of it.
Neither have I.
I'm sure with his ego, I'm sure it was something like he thought was profoundly prophetic.
In 1981, a package is found at BYU by an electrical engineering professor, Leroy Wood Burnson.
Oh, not the Mormons.
Not the bigamists.
Man, if that thing had actually gone off, then that would have been tragic for
the world may have been in a better place.
They would have been tragic for that guy's 8 wives. Man, make 8 widows with 1 casualty, 8 widows. That would be wild. Sorry, did I knock you off course?
Okay, so I misread that, misunderstood the entire thing. So I thought this bomb was at BYU, but no, it was just at the University of Utah.
Oh. And
it was a BYU professor who found it.
Oh, that's weird. What was what did the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints send him in undercover to spy on that secular institution?
I don't know. It was found in a random hallway, and campus police was called, and it got defused by the bomb squad. A year later, not a year later, in that May, Patrick C. Fisher, a computer science professor with Vanderbilt, got one of Kaczynski's bombs, and it exploded in his secretary's face, Janet Smith, and she got injuries to her arms and face.
Oh, that blows. Don't leave the secretary out of it.
So he goes back to to Berkeley in July with 2 bombs. Well, no, 1 bomb was in that July, and then his next bomb was also at Berkeley, but it was 3 years later. So the first bomb was found in a computer science lab where Diogenes Angelakos, which is a fucking insane name. You're named after a Greek god, Diogenes.
That's not a Greek god. It's a Greek philosopher, not a god.
There's no. Is it Diogenes, the god of wine and parties?
No, that's oh shit. No, he's not a god. Diogenes is that god that was or not god, that philosopher that would hang out in the agora and lived in a barrel and jerked off in public.
I'm looking this up now because I just want to see how close the word names are. Dionysus. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I can see how you get that mixed up then. No, Diogenes is the philosopher that thought that the only way to be happy and to live a morally righteous life was to completely cast off all worldly possessions.
So 3 years later, in May of 85, John Hauser, a graduate student and a captain in the Air Force, was a victim of his next bomb. And actually, surprisingly enough, Angelakos actually responded to that bomb and helped triage this man's wounds.
Oh, so the guy who was the victim of the first bomb ended up being one of the main guys.
The first bomb, the victim of the first bomb at Berkeley helped the guy who got the second bomb at Berkeley.
Yeah. Man, can you imagine how much that fucked him up? It was like, oh God, it happened to get it. I'm the one that's cursed. Things keep blowing up around me.
I think I would have the same worry, but still, this man turned into a hero, helped. I don't think there was it was that big of an injury that he necessarily probably saved his life, but his first instinct was to run in and try and make sure the guy was okay and help him. He lost 4 of his fingers and vision in one of his eyes.
See, that blows. That fucking sucks.
The following November, it doesn't say when this one was, but he also tried to send a bomb to the Boeing company, but it got defused by the bomb squad. And I remember this being brought up. There's a couple that's been defused.
That's the one that gets the one that might have been morally justified is one of the ones that gets diffused.
I mean, yeah. Then in the following November, he sends a bomb to Professor James V. McConnell. I'm trying to remember what he was. He was a biologist. So this guy thought that if you taught worms, I'm trying to remember how to summarize this because this was brought up in the book. He was a believer in inherited memory shit. I don't mean in genetics. So he took worms, taught them to do a maze to get to food or something, ground them up and fed them to other worms to see if the worms could do it faster.
Oh my God, he okay, new working theory because that idea of inherited memories, this is my new working theory, because that idea of inheritable memories is a basic thrust of the plot line of Assassin's Creed. So now my working theory is that Ted Kaczynski was actually
Ted Kaczynski is a time traveler trying to prevent the Assassin's Creed games.
No, Ted Kaczynski is a member of the Assassins, and his professor was working for Abstergo and trying to build the Animus. And the assassin and Kaczynski, the assassin, is trying to stop the Animus from being created, so that Abstergo wouldn't get their hands on the pieces of Eden.
That's fucking hilarious.
This is my headcanon. This is what. Actually, yeah, no. Now that that's in my head, I like Ted Kaczynski again.
So McConnell and his research assistant Nikolakis Sunio both were severely injured. It doesn't mention Sunio's injuries, but McConnell lost hearing in one of his ears after he opened it.
Real quick, let's take a sip for feeding worms to other worms, because that's diabolical.
Yeah, kind of. Making intentional cannibalism in any form is diabolical.
It's like feeding a chicken nugget to my pet parrot. You know, it's like getting a pet pig and feeding it bacon off of your breakfast plate. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you again. I just had the image of a guy with a pet pig that wanders around his house, and he feeds the pig bacon off his breakfast plate, and now the bacon has PTSD from when it was slaughtered. And it suffers from like awful, horrific memories of the slaughter of these hundreds of pigs that it's been fed. A pig with 1,000-yard stares who wakes up squealing from nightmares every night. Oh, that's awful. What have we come up with? That's terrible. What?
No, the professor is like the guy is slowly wants to commit suicide, but he wants his pig to kill him. So he's feeding the pig pork to the point that the pig is like, "No, must protect life. Kill Professor." That would be a hilarious psychological thriller. I think that would be an interesting psychological thriller novel.
Oh, that's oh, that sucks.
That I might write a short story about that now.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, anyways, continue. I'm so sorry for interrupting.
So, in late 85, he plants a nail and splinter bomb in the parking lot of a computer store in Sacramento, California, which results in the death of the store's owner, Hugh Scruton?
What kind of shop was this?
Computer store.
Okay, so this is that seems like a downgrade from universities and Boeing.
Well, he's against technology.
Yeah, but still, it seems like a downgrade. You're targeting the distribution. Yeah, you've downgraded from targeting the theoretical development down to targeting the distribution. I don't know,
So, this is the first time he's spotted dropping off a bomb. This next one in February 20th of 1978, so 2 years later, he's spotted dropping off a bomb disguised as a piece of wood in the parking lot of another computer store in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Are we sure this guy didn't just have a thing against Mormons?
I mean, fuck the Mormons, except for Mr. Compton. Love Compton.
Yeah, fuck the church, but just targeting random Mormons seems
kind of fucked.
Yeah, kind of fucked. I mean, we're talking about a guy who bombed people here, so everything about this is kind of fucked, but...
Bro was an incel through and through. That's all what I'll say. And this is where he's actually noticed, because, a worker there notices him in the parking lot and actually sees him drop off the bomb, and that's how we get the sketch of him. And I think it's either a manager's son or, the owner's son who gets, who actually, before she can even, she was going to get a hold of her son to, remove it or something because they didn't want to confront him because they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know it was the Unabomber or any shit like that. The son shows up and he sees it and he's going to hey, it looks like debris. I'll move it out of the way. And it goes off. He ends up being injured, but lives. Nerves in his left arm were severed and over 200 pieces of shrapnel entered his body.
Oh God, he's going to have so much medical treatment for the rest of his life because of that shit. Fuck.
He's gonna have so much nerve pain, it's not even gonna be funny. So this.
Oh, that blows. Fuck this guy. Actually, controversial opinion, but fuck Ted Kaczynski. Actually.
This led to his first known sketch. A hooded man with a mustache and aviator glasses.
Oh shit! Yeah. So this. Growing up, every time I wore a hoodie and I put the hood up on my hoodie, my mom would always say the same shit. She'd be like, "Oh, you look like the Unabomber." Every time she said that. I don't know why. It's kind of fucked up now that I think about it.
We're about to have a... Yep. Anytime you're compared to some kind of crazy person / killer, it's kind of fucked up being compared to them.
I should have responded, yeah, and you look like Bin Laden. What's your point?
Next up, we've got the non-pedophile Epstein, Charles Epstein from University of California, San Francisco.
Man, he really fucked up that name, didn't he?
The pedophile fucked up that last name for everyone who has that last name. I would change.
Yeah, and there's so many people named Epstein.
I would have changed my last name if I had that last name.
Yeah, it's like all those Germans after the war who had to change their names from Adolf.
So, in 1993, after 6 years of no bombs, he mails a bomb to Charles Epstein, like I said, from University of California, San Francisco, and he lost several of his fingers from opening the package. That same time, he also mailed a bomb to David Glettner. Yeah, David Glettner, a computer science professor at the University of Yale. He lost sight in one of his eyes, and one of his ears he lost hearing, and a portion of his right hand upon the explosion of the device.
Man, the Unabomber was really on an anti-hand crusade here.
Evidently. So I think it's this one, because I can't remember. McVeigh did his bombing in 95, right?
Yep, 95.
So there's one more before the one that coincides with McVeigh. So in 94, Burston Mueller executive, I don't know, died. Thomas J. Moser, after he was open a bomb that was sent to his home in New Jersey. It's during this time he starts taunting the press. So he sent a letter to the New York Times, and he sent it. He killed Moser because he repaired the public image of Exxon after the oil spill, the Valdez oil spill from 89.
Yeah, Exxon Valdez. Yeah, it was this big tanker that crashed. I think it was off the coast of Alaska. And it was like the big famous oil spill of that time that launched like a bunch of environmental activism afterwards, and kind of brought like notice, like public consciousness to like the damage that's done by like oil spills.
I mean, oil spills have always like fucked shit up, to be honest.
You know, for a guy like that, not an effective tactic. I understand though.
I mean, if someone deserves to die, it's the guy who tried to clear Exxon's public image.
Corporate. I'm gonna get up on my soapbox here for a second. It won't be long, but corporate public relations is one of the most evil fucking jobs that you could possibly have in the 20th or 21st centuries. Like you are the propaganda arm of this whole rotten system. You are the people who are responsible for keeping the public consciousness away from accountability and responsibility for people who are literally destroying our fucking planet and destroying people's lives. Like, if for some reason, for some godforsaken reason, there's somebody who works in corporate PR or for some sort of PR firm that listens to our show for some reason.
Or at some point in the future listens to it. Fuck you, for one.
Yeah, fuck you. You have sacrificed your humanity in exchange for a paycheck. You deserve the worst, and
although it's not too late to turn it around.
It's not too late. You can reclaim your humanity. Your humanity is not that's not something that you can work to.
Capitalism doesn't have complete control over your soul as long as you leave behind the evils you protect.
Yeah, like let your willpower let your conscience and your willpower be stronger than your greed, and just do the right thing and quit your job. Otherwise, die. Like,
maybe commit a little bit of terrorism on your way out.
Yeah, do some do some wrench throwing. Like throw a wrench in the gears some way, whatever the equivalent of that is.
Maybe blow some whistles.
Yeah, blow some whistles. Like that's fine. That would be great. That I will welcome you back. I will be the first to shake your hand and welcome you back to humanity. Until that point, you are less than human. I'm sorry. Like,
you deserve no human rights.
You you don't deserve like human rights don't apply to you because you sacrificed your humanity. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
So a lot of people think that the bombing of 95 was in response to McVeigh and the OKC bombing. However, they look with the amount of time Kaczynski usually put into his bombings and physically constructing the bombs, there's no way it was a response because like it took him months to put the bombs together.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and
it's likely he mailed them out. The last bomb he mailed out not long after like the OKC bombing, so maybe he like decided to like put it in motion at the same time, but like doubtful still. I was kind of surprised that that got brought up. Then I was like, I guess it's the same year and similar like things. And the book I listened to for the most part actually focused a lot on the investigative side because like they were spinning their wheels really fucking hard. And and it feels like it was like a decade plus, almost 2 decades long investigation by the FBI, and they almost wanted to shut it down like within the like last year before they caught him. And I understand why they spun the rails and it took us so long, because like Kaczynski did everything he could to leave no trace back to him. Like literally, if he hadn't gotten cocky and started sending shit to the media and stuff, if he hadn't posted his manifesto, like I know in the end his brother turns him in. I still think like the FBI would have eventually figured it out, because there was like within your writings there's going to be words and colloquialisms that, not literally just those, but like the way you talk is very uniquely you. Like even, and especially when in your writing, even if you're doing like even like an essay and stuff like that, there are going to be stuff and patterns that point out that they can like track it down to you eventually. Especially when he had his dissertation out, where like they have examples of his writing, they're going to be able to compare and eventually get to that.
Yeah, like a guy like Kaczynski, like for one, already very neurodivergent. Obviously, not sure what exactly he had, but very neurodivergent. Probably already like before any education had a really unique way of speaking. Just based on like people that I know with neurodivergences.
Well, a lot of his talking points he brings up like that let me scroll back to see what his name was, but like that one professor, like he like that became his Bible or whatever. I want to find this so I can say this right.
Yeah, the philosopher, the French one.
Jacques Ellul. Like there weren't a whole many copies of his book out in the U.S. Like they once they got to the point that his brother termed him in, it was a matter of time even before that. If his brother hadn't like, hey, I think this is my brother, and like pointed him in the right direction, they would have gotten to Kaczynski by then, because they had enough information that they would have eventually got to him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that.
So the final bomb was sent to Gilbert Brent Murray, the president of a timber industry lobbying group, the California Forestry Association.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But it was addressed to the previous president, William Dennison, who had retired.
Marginally, like we mentioned before, like Ted Kaczynski, for all his faults, did have some points in his manifesto, which makes it all the more difficult. Look up some of the shit that was happening with California timber during this time, and timber throughout the country. I mean, look up. Have you ever heard the name David Chain?
No, I have not.
Okay, look up David Chain after we sign off, because holy fucking shit, the timber industry during this time was fucking evil. Like, evil, like Old Testament levels of evil.
I feel like timber industry has always been evil.
Absolutely.
Because like they've constantly tried to get into protected land to log when there's plenty of other places that they can fucking log.
Absolutely, yes, but also specifically during the 80s and 90s, they took it to an insane levels of like they got fucking Tom Brokaw as like one of their like, basically like Tom Brokaw was coming on TV and running defense, and basically it became like their PR, like a PR mouthpiece for the timber industry during this time. Like, it's fucking insane, like how much influence they had just throughout media and politics. But anyways, David Chain was an environmental activist who was murdered by a logger during a protest, and it became this enormous like scandal that blew up about like the conflict between the timber industry and which fucking like environmental activism, and just all of the PR fuckery and media fuckery that went into it is just fucking insane.
So that's his final bomb that's sent out. He sends out a threatening letter, but nothing else. He, like I said, he starts tormenting the media, and he talks like they're a group of like individuals, like a terrorist group, to the media, but like obviously we all know it was just Kaczynski. He didn't have any like extra help or anything like that as far as we know, and nothing like we found. Like Kaczynski very clearly acted alone. Like even like out of all the bombings like that have happened throughout the U.S., that Kaczynski was very clearly a solo man act. So he starts doing that, and like he tries to get them to publish his manifesto, and the FBI like pretty much uniformly is like, we should publish it, but they're not wanting to give in to his demands because he says he's going to stop bombing, and no one believes that. Like no one believes it. None of the FBI. Like he's not going to stop, but they're like, someone's going to recognize his writing pattern. Someone's going to help us find him, which is exactly why you would want to publish it, because you want someone. It's the public collaboration that the FBI was not known for up till this point. Like they saw it as giving into like terrorist demands and all that. Like, but publishing some like a killer, a terrorist, a killer's work to try and help find him is actually very, very smart, because
people recognize it.
There are interests. Yes, they're gonna notice patterns like, hey, that might be my cousin Bill who lives up in the woods, or that's my brother Ted who is a social recluse, as what happened with David Kaczynski.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that because he was an academic, there's a lot of people that would recognize his writing style too.
At that point, they were also getting a little bit closer. If he hadn't done the manifesto, I think it would have taken them longer, but I think they may have found him eventually, because he was doing other stuff that kind of pointed to what his ideologies were with his bombings. But I think he probably could have continued for another few years without getting caught. But he gets that published. They actually have a whole like deliberation, and like there's a whole big like all the soup agencies have a meeting with the attorney general, and the FBI has to say, here's why we think it's a good idea. And everyone's saying, fuck that, we don't give in to terrorists, is basically what everyone else is saying. Like, and the attorney general's like, no, we should publish it because the FBI's got a good point. It'll help us find him, probably. Because public collaboration. And this, like I said earlier, this was a huge, like, change. Like, they had never done anything like this before.
Yeah, and here's the thing, is that I can understand, like, not wanting to publish for a lot of manifestos, because if it's something like a white supremacist, whatever their manifesto says could be influential, because there's already like a pretty major movement behind that. This is one guy, and it's probably the only guy in the entire country who has this ideology.
No, he fooled them into thinking that it was a group. Like, when he was posting their stuff, I think the FBI knew it was like, if not a single person, it was like not necessarily a group, but like maybe 2, maybe 3 people, if they thought it was multiple people. But they, from what I understand, they pretty much always thought it was like a single person.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about like from law enforcement's perspective. I'm thinking like just in general, like on a societal level, like if it's like a white supremacist like mass shooters manifesto, then like, yeah, putting that out there, that would be an issue, because they already have like a notable presence of like major groups.
Well, so I feel like that's a completely different scenario though, Derek. You're not going to post a mass shooters manifesto.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Because most of the time a mass shooter is caught in the scenario. A bomber, a terrorist, someone who is being able to act under the guise of mystery. That's the only, like, when you're trying to catch someone who's on the run.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though, is that part of what I'm saying is like, if it's a situation like this where if it's like, even if they think it's like a small group, like they don't have any record of, well, that wouldn't be true either, because they might have just lumped him in with like the broader environmentalist movement, because I don't know. I've just thrown a whole wrench into my whole theory there, so you just keep going.
As far as I know, they weren't looking at it from like, they knew it wasn't a movement. Everything I heard in that book, because like this is actually the person who investigated this was like the daughter of like an FBI agent, and like she conducted interviews. She saw, like, when she did this book, she saw how it was portrayed like in a recent adaptation where like they basically made it like they fictionalized a lot of stuff and they made it they added like they treated it like one guy was responsible for catching the Unabomber when it was very much like a multi-year like collaborative effort, and she wanted to put a focus on that. But once they published that, after they had convinced the attorney general that it should go published, David Kaczynski is like, hey, he gets interviewed and is like, it might be my brother. Like, he doesn't point the finger exactly, but he's pretty confident that's his brother's writing. It's kind of clear to him. Like he would know his brother's writing. So they start keeping an eye on Kaczynski, and they had this whole plan to like fake, they were trying to fake something to get him out of the house. And as soon as he steps out, it sounds like they weren't anticipating getting the search warrant approved, but like almost as soon as he's stepping out, they get the warrant approved. So they like detain him and start searching his premises. But they're like, oh, they walk through it like fucking idiots because they're like, we think that we.
Well, no, law enforcement being fucking idiots during an investigation.
They searched his cabin in April 3rd of 1996, but they're like, it could be booby trapped. It could be like they didn't think it was really going to be booby trapped because they caught him by surprise. Like he had no idea. Like genuinely, I don't think he knew they were on his trail. But they wanted to treat it in case like he was one of paranoid or something like that. But they still decided they were going to walk around and like look like they weren't going to touch anything, but they were going to go in the cabin. Are you fucking stupid? This guy's known for bombs. You shouldn't step foot in the fucking thing until you got bomb squad on the site.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a fucking taxidermy dog in there with tannerite in it.
Nah, that's for the DEA. No, not DEA. What am I?
The ATF?
ATF, yeah, that's for the ATF. Claymore Roomba.
He's got the Claymore Roomba. Claymore Roomba comes out and the overhead speakers just start blasting Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses.
No, Fortune Son. He would play Fortune Son.
I guess, yeah, that'd be, he would play something like real hack like that, wouldn't he?
Yes, he would. This is Kaczynski. A fucking incel.
See, I would go with, like, Rage Against the Machine or something.
Either I'd go, if I'm getting raided by the ATF, I either go full meme and go Fortune Son, or I'd probably go let the bodies hit the floor.
I think let the bodies hit the floor. I don't think that's quite the right tone, and I think that Fortunate Son would be too hack. That's my thing.
Well, what if I'm pretending I'm here? I know I'm getting raided, but I'm up on a hill and a sniper, and I'm remotely playing Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, and I'm sniping.
No, because we're talking about what we're playing when we release the Claymore Roomba.
Okay, specifically for Claymore Roomba.
Yeah.
I think I'd just go cliche and go Fortune Son. So, like if it's specifically Claymore Roomba.
Yeah, it's fine. I disagree. I think, not even Rage Against the Machine, but some of Tom Morello's, like, solo stuff. I think I'd go, maybe, no, I don't think that'd be, because that's more folky. We need something more intense. I think I'm going the wrong direction with this.
I don't know enough of individual, like, fuck the system songs, like, off the top of my head to say anything better than, like, Fortune Son. That, or I'd go It's Raining Men, because the body parts would be falling down. Yeah, I'd go It's Raining Men.
No, okay. I'm locking in Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue.
Okay. So he's brought to trial. Like, they at first don't actually place him under arrest, actually, because, like, what the fuck do we charge him with? Before they had started searching the cabin. Because at this time, it's really only circumstantial evidence. But once they searched the cabin, which they had the warrant for, but they had to wait for the bombs, like, people to be able to make sure they're not going to blow themselves up to get there.
There we go. In order to get a warrant against you, they have to search your cabin first. But if they go into your cabin, they're going to get blown up.
I mean, I'm I'm surprised Kaczynski didn't have his cabin rigged to explode. To be perfectly honest.
Yeah, that's kind of, maybe that's some more ego thing leaking in. Like, he's been at this for, like, what, 2 decades now, and they haven't caught him?
He had sent out a threatening letter. I forgot to who. I can pull that up scroll back up and find that.
Let's be honest, there's like an 80% chance it was somebody who deserved it.
Geneticist Philip Sharp at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology had received a. So the last person who was supposed to get a bomb before he was arrested was Alan Philip Sharp. Let me see what he's known for.
A geneticist.
The threatening letter stated it would be beneficial to your health to stop researching in genetics. When they were searching his cabin, they took 11 days, by the way, to search a 80 square foot cabin. Knowing Kaczynski, probably smart.
It's probably very messy in there. I'm not gonna lie. It was probably fucking disgusting in there, actually.
Oh, probably. Almost certainly. Throughout the entire thing, that I didn't bring up because it is and isn't an important thing, but they were able to track what he was writing some of his letters on, because he was sending stuff through the mail, and part of that was he used a typewriter, a very specific one that they were able to hey, this is the specific typewriter. We can't figure out where it's at. It was the second to last thing they pulled out of the cabin, and it was in an ammo box. They also found a completed bomb that was obviously going to go to Sharp that they were able to successfully defuse.
Oh boy. Okay. Ah, God, this guy's a fucking asshole.
He's an incel. Apparently, after he was caught, people thought he was the Zodiac killer because fucking why? He initially tries to dismiss his public defender, but the judge is like, fuck that shit, no.
No, you fucking idiot.
And the reason why he tries to dismiss his public defender is because the public defender wanted to use the insanity defense. And part of Kaczynski, it was just a vehement hatred of acknowledging that anything might be mentally wrong with him.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. Some more of that ego getting in there.
They did do psychological evaluations as part of the trial. They said he had probably schizotypal personality disorder, or antisocial personality disorder too. But he was not unfit to stand trial. So a lot of times when someone tries to use the insanity defense, what the mass public, I think I might have mentioned this on an episode before, what the public doesn't know is you can be mentally unwell. The only time the insanity defense actually works is if you were unable to determine right from wrong at the time of the crime.
Right, yeah.
That's the only successful way to plead the insanity defense.
Yeah, that tracks. Yeah, and that's the thing is that he was very very obviously ideologically motivated. This wasn't he thought that the government was after him and didn't quite have a grasp on reality. I think he just was consciously trying to get eyes on his ideas.
So he's declared fit to stand trial on January 21st, 98. The very next day he pleads guilty, but immediately tries to withdraw this plea, claiming the judge coerced him, but the judge denied his request to appeal that. And the Ninth Circuit...
Coerced him how?
It's Kaczynski. He if he's not in a quote-unquote winning position from his perspective, he's been wronged.
This fucking asshole.
Ninth Circuit upheld the denial. And he was sentenced to fourth life sentences, I think.
Yeah, that tracks.
Life in prison, no possibility of parole. Funny story. In 2006, the judge who presided over the case declared that his cabin had to be sold at a reasonably advertised internet auction.
Why?
It doesn't... For restitution to his victims, to Kaczynski's victims.
Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Can you guess how much the proceeds were? Like, okay, it's 15 million in $06. What is that worth in uh, modern money?
Oh, so, okay. I'm guessing, uh, 50 million oh 06. I'm gonna guess like 20. Highest without going over 21 million.
You went a little under 23.4 million as of 2024.
Let's go, baby. The inflation under.
Like they sold his cabin, not the physical cabin too. Like they didn't sell the land, they sold the cabin.
Just wait. What, they take it off the land? What's going on here?
Yeah, it's a rustic cabin. You can pick that shit up.
They just they didn't sell just the. That's so funny, actually.
I'm assuming like the land was probably purchased under like a some kind of like I assume he didn't own the land outright and he defaulted on the loan or whatever. Like
Can can you imagine, like, you're driving down the highway and you see just a fucking log cabin on the back of a super wide semi.
not any log cabin, but you recognize that holy shit, that's the Unabomber's log cabin.
Yeah, I saw that cabin on the news. There were bombs in there.
Oh no. Oh shit, I misread that. So items from the cabin be sold, but he gifted his cabin to
Okay.
Charlotte Holdman, a death penalty abolitionist.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Wait, is he?
Who actually played a role in preventing him from getting the death penalty.
Oh, that's actually fascinating. That's really that.
But the government said "fuck you," and Holdman wasn't allowed to keep that.
Oh, that's horseshit. You don't wait no. You don't lose your property just because you go to jail. That property is still his to give to whoever he wants.
You do when you owe restitution to your victims' families, and a lot of your belongings are forfeit that way.
So what was sold at that auction did not make up for what he was owed in restitution.
I he killed 3 people and injured like 23 others. Like so his final like victim count was 3 deaths and I want to say 23 injuries. And like some of them were debilitating. Yes, 23.
Okay, yeah. Now, when you put that in perspective, yeah, I understand now. Okay, yeah. Yeah, take the cabin from him, use it to pay the victims' families. And the victims.
Apparently in 2011, apparently he was temporarily a person of interest for the Chicago Tylenol murders from 82, but that didn't pan out.
Yeah, that wasn't really his MO.
Nah. In March of 2021, he got ass cancer.
Get fucked, nerd.
Well, he got rectal cancer, but it's funner to say ass cancer.
That's ass cancer. Come on.
Then at 12:23 a.m. on June 10th of 2023, he was found unresponsive, no pulse, after hanging himself from a handicap rail with a shoelace. Uh, he had stopped responding to treatment. Like he was going to die, and he decided I want to go out on my terms.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll do it. Rest in piss, bozo.
Fuck you, incel. You're one. It's if Kaczynski had been born a couple years later, we very clearly would know him as a Reddit incel. He may have got caught sooner because he probably would have posted shit to Reddit and got caught because he was being a Reddit incel.
Yeah, he probably, Jesus Christ, he probably would have been a mass shooter, honestly.
Nah, I feel like he liked the explode. Like, I think he had a little bit of pyromania in him some point because, like, I don't know. I just feel like the bombings were a part of him, like at a psychological level, like the explosion part.
I guess, I don't know, but
So, what are your thoughts about this incel, sir?
I don't know, maybe just that that manifesto was a real pile of shit. Like I haven't read the whole thing through, but I've skimmed it. But
Also, I refuse to read it. But the reason why we covered this case this week, your dear audience, I'm not sure if I'll edit it in time because we're recording this later than normal. Like, I'm gonna have like this is Sunday, and if I post it when we originally planned, I would have to have it edited by Wednesday. It's looking to be somewhat of a shorter episode though, so we'll see. The day this is supposed to come out is supposed to be the 1 year anniversary of the United Healthcare CEO assassination, and
Oh shit.
supposedly, again, if it's Luigi, whatever his last name is,
Mangione.
okay, Luigi Mangione. If it is him, he left a very positive review on the autobiography by Kaczynski, stating Kaczynski like had some really good points and blah 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 blah. Like, it very seems like Luigi might have been like inspired by Kaczynski.
That's interesting. Yeah, much like most of the famous politically motivated murderers of the 21st century, utterly incoherent politics.
Yeah.
Utterly incoherent beliefs. Yeah. Either the main if somebody does a politically targeted murder in the 21st century, you can either flip a coin. It's either going to be like a white supremacist or somebody whose political beliefs are so fucking esoteric and cobbled together from random bullshit that you're never going to be able to properly understand it.
So, Derek, what are your final words for our audience? Any thoughts?
You know what I was thinking of this whole time was this fucking hilarious thing that I saw once. It was a little snippet, just a screen grab from a paper, like a dissertation that somebody wrote on as for like their mathematical thesis for like mathematics. And in the paper, it cited a theorem that was, I believe it was formulated by Kaczynski in his own doctoral thesis. And it mentioned like the such and such theorem as formulated by by Theodore Kaczynski, and then it had a little footnote. And then you go to the bottom of the page, and the footnote says, Theodore Kaczynski, better known for other works. That's all I was thinking about that whole time.
I keep calling him an incel. That's because I've been watching YouTube videos where like they use voice to text to put Reddit green text together, and like I just keep thinking of like all the incels on those stories and like how Kaczynski like fits that, but like, hey, I was a math super genius as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that like this is something that I've always kind of noticed about a lot of, you know, your stereotypical neckbeard incel types, is that they're socially awkward people with very few social skills and an inability to pick up social cues, whose that issue with them is also paired with an ego that gives them like a major victim complex.
Fucking accurate.
And that is exactly, like, I see exactly where you're coming from. That is what I picked up, though, from the way you were describing Ted Kaczynski. They can find me on Blue Sky at Visigoth. The O is a 0. Visigoth.bsky.social. Whatever the fuck those tags are. That drives me insane. Yeah, at Visigoth, the O is a 0. Tim, where can they find the good stuff?
So they can find me at Tim A.K. Otis on Blue Sky, and then they can find the podcast at Facebook and Instagram at the Alexander Society Pod, Blue Sky at Alex Society Pod, and TikTok at Alexander Society. And if you enjoyed what you listened to, please give us a rate or review on your streaming platform of choice, and we will see you next time.
Bye.